your next steps, you're getting ready to close down a test. So you've been running it, you have some results. Are you doing anything special, say towards the end of the test, or that's like here's a closure report, or here's something that I have that's like an analysis of everything? Like how are you delivering those end results?
Yeah, so we like to incorporate analysis throughout the project. It's not just a linear thing where it's like, okay, now we are doing the beta test and now we are reporting on the beta test. It's like customers are joining the beta at different times. So right now it's like certain customers are very far along and we've already gleaned a lot of insights from them. So we're reporting on those and sharing them out so that other product managers who are working on the product but aren't necessarily engaged with that particular customer are still staying abreast to what we're learning from them and how that can influence their roadmaps and backlogs. But also we're reporting to stakeholder groups outside of the project that maybe aren't as closely involved, but like at the executive level who are very interested in how things are progressing. So just knowing what level to speak to at different things. Obviously, if you're talking to other product managers, you get really into the weeds about specific features that aren't working and why or why not. But at the executive level, we're reporting out a little bit less frequently, maybe monthly instead of weekly, and just giving them a higher picture view, bird's eye view of what's going on. And then we can delve into any particular area that they're interested in because we're doing that analysis in real time. So it's good, I think, to analyze as you go and not wait until you're done, particularly if you're in a scenario like us where you have customers that are joining the beta program early on and then others that are joining months later. You have customers at various stages at any given point, which I think I'm realizing this is becoming a theme helps round out the story in another way.
Stories, they're a thing. So you gotta do storytelling with data. Another thing I'll just keep saying that I love that you're saying is that tailoring of results. Now, I have my own interpretation of that. Why are you tailoring results to your audience, stakeholder audience?
Yeah, it's just different people are interested in different things. Like Appian is a large company. We have a few thousand employees and we have a ton of initiatives going on. We have a lot of product managers. It's a huge enterprise platform. So I think for any executive stakeholder to be in the weeds on every single feature at any given time is not realistic. So just knowing like what they're interested in, kind of going back to what I was saying with customer conversations as well, like understand what they really want to know and what they're trying to solve and just tailoring it to that, but also being prepared to answer any follow-up questions they have. So for example, our people in the C-level probably don't care about specific components of a feature, what has a bug and what doesn't. They're looking for a bigger picture, like, okay, in general, are they successful or are they not, and why or why not, and what are we doing to fix it as a whole, not like with specific capabilities within the feature.
Right. And you say you do a weekly with your say key most involved stakeholders?
Yeah, we do a weekly sync just to make sure everyone's staying up to date. So that's a group of product managers and people from our launch team as well. And then we have other meetings where product managers are sharing findings from what they're learning from customers, because each product manager is working with different customers. So seeing what's common across customer engagements versus what might be an idiosyncratic thing for one customer. So just having those meetings where we can identify trends early on and course correct if needed, I think is very helpful. I know everyone kind of groans at having more meetings, but it is really valuable rather than getting into silos and just having a couple product managers working with one customer and a couple other product managers working with another customer and not collaborating across the groups to see what themes are common and what's unique to a specific engagement.
Definitely agree. We tend to operate in weekly phases like that where we have results kind of come out. They do happen in real time, like you've been to Bearman. You see results every single day come through, but then reporting those back up is great on a weekly basis. So that's a great best practice, I'd say. Now, you run those meetings. what do you have for tips for people that are running those weekly meetings with their key stakeholders?
Come with an agenda. If you don't have an agenda, then things can spiral, or I don't know, maybe spiral is a little harsh, but things can go off the rails, and maybe a stakeholder wants to focus on one particular thing that you didn't have on the agenda, but you have all these other things. So I think making sure people know what the agenda is and they have an opportunity to weigh in on that. That's something I always do when I open the meeting. I have the backlog or the agenda that's in a document that we all have access to so people can look at it ahead of time, and I go over it and then I say, is there anything else anyone needs to talk about today that we need to get to? Just so I know how to manage the conversation and manage the time so that we're not spending too much time on any one thing, or that something that wasn't even on my radar ends up taking over the entire conversation. And I think especially with executives or VPs or even directors, like they have a lot going on. So just make sure they know what the meeting's about and be efficient.
Love it. Great stuff. Now, do you have communication that also goes out after the fact? Like, is there anything that you're sending? So you have that meeting, you have your agenda that you're kind of preparing for, you go through it. Is there something that you're delivering? Is there a deliverable at the end of those meetings?
Yeah, some of the meetings, yes, some no. So we have a channel that has, not like it's like a Google group where people who are involved in the project closely can share things. So a lot of times if there's like a big outcome that a bunch of people are going to need to know, I'll share it in there. If it's something that's not super urgent, I'll loop it into some monthly report. Again, it's just kind of using discretion of who needs to know what, and just erring on the side of sharing more instead of less. I'd rather over communicate than under communicate. But we also communicate out to customers as well. We have a space for customers to collaborate with each other if that's of interest to them. It's not something that's required, but just making sure they have that space to learn from other beta testers. And then that gives us insight as well to what we might want to report out on to other customers, like, hey, we saw this trend, like, that problem we were having, that actually seems to be a larger problem, and that's something we're fixing, and here's how. So yeah, I think just communicating at different levels and different modalities as well. Like, I'm giving a presentation in a couple of weeks to speak to all product managers across our organization about some of the programs we're working on, because product managers who haven't worked with me yet and this new beta function might not know exactly what we're doing and how to leverage me and the beta function. So yeah, different levels of different information. Some are written presentations, more like a narrative document. Some are a quick chat. Some it's like a presentation where I'm getting up in front of a group and speaking. So lots of stuff going on.